My name is Rubiana Hambrick, and this is my admissions interview for the Master's Program in Professional Counseling. So the first question is, what significant personal experiences have led you to choose a career as a counselor? And I would have to say it started in high school when I had a psychology course, and I really fell in love with the subject, really all aspects of it, which led me to major in it in my undergraduate. And to be honest, I didn't want to go into counseling my first 2 years in psychology. I actually wanted to go into experimental psychology because I was really interested in doing research because I was a part of a research project my sophomore year. What really pushed me into going into counseling and really made me fall in love with it was an internship I had at Laurelwood Hospital, which is a mental health facility as well as a stabilization unit for people dealing with mental illnesses all the way to substance abuse. So I think my experiences working with patients and seeing their progress and helping them find resources outside of the hospital, I felt like I loved doing it. I loved going there, and I wanted to learn more and have more experience in this field. So that's kind of the major experience that I had that led me to pursuing a career in counseling. The second question is, if others who know you were to describe your positive and negative characteristics, what would they say? I would definitely have to say caring. Just because, I feel like I'm always there for my friends, and even for the people I am acquaintances for. I'm always the kind of person who I feel like people can come to and talk to about things, especially if they're going through some issues. I feel like I really care for my friends, and I put a lot of effort into caring about other people, really. So I think that's definitely a positive characteristic of mine. Another one would definitely be dedication, not only to my schoolwork, to my friends, but also to my club organizations that I am a part of. Once I become involved in something, no matter what it is, I really put all of myself into it. I will put that extra mile in to make something better or to make it more successful. So I definitely think that I'm dedicated to things that I commit to. And that kind of leads me to a negative characteristic of mine that sometimes I will overcommit and sometimes become overwhelmed because when I do become a part of something, like I said, I really try to put as much of my commitment into it. So that's a negative characteristic of mine, is that I tend to get involved in a lot of things, and sometimes that can be overwhelming for me. But through knowing that about myself and knowing that I tend to do that, I've learned, how to manage my time really well, and I've also learned how to balance, these different interests in my life and my different activities. So I think that, even though that is kind of a negative characteristic of mine, it's definitely led me to build more skills that helps me to deal with all of those things. So the third question is, what characteristic of yours will you have to change in order to become a counselor? I definitely think a characteristic of mine is not being confident. Especially in my abilities when I'm working with patients like I did at my internship. Sometimes I would doubt myself, and I felt like I didn't have enough experience or at least enough knowledge in this specific field to feel confident enough to help a patient. But I think being in this program is going to be a way of kind of learning more, obviously, and also gaining more experience in counseling, which is going to, help me feel more confident when I'm working with people. So the fourth question is, discuss a prejudice that you have had and how you have dealt with it. For me, I grew up in an area where prejudice was very common. Unfortunately, prejudice against different racial groups and prejudice against people of different sexual orientations. I've I found that, my own prejudice is against those people who have different opinions than me, in relation to those different prejudices. And I always found myself thinking that they were being hateful because they were saying these things, or that's what they believed. And I had to overcome the idea that they were doing it out of hate, and I had to understand that people come from different backgrounds and they have different cultures and different upbringings that socialize them into thinking one way or another. And so I can't. I've had to understand that I can't tell someone that they're wrong, especially since we might have grown up in different families, and especially if they're not wanting to be hateful, or maybe somebody has never pointed out that something that they are saying could be hurtful to someone else. So I think for me, I've had to overcome that prejudice I've had, and I think I'm still working on understanding others and understanding that we all come from different places and we all learn different things, and we're socialized into thinking in different ways, and we have to just understand that about each other. So that's definitely a prejudice I've had to kind of overcome. So the fifth question is, what do you worry most about, with the exception of time and money, in starting a graduate program? For me, I currently live in Georgia, so if I were to be accepted into this program, I would be moving across the country to Colorado. And so a big worry of mine right now would be adjusting to a new area where I don't really know a lot of people. So I think that was definitely something I worry about. Another worry that I have is, in every graduate program, it's a lot more work than what we're expected to do in our undergraduate. But I think, I'm willing to work as hard as I need to and as hard as I can to succeed in this program. So I'm worried about it, but I'm ready to face it. So this is the role-playing segment, and I have chosen scenario 1.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Laura.
I'm Riviana.
Sorry, I just came straight from work. It's been a busy week.
Yeah. So what brings you in here today?
Well, I've been having a really stressful time at work. It's tax season, and we have so many clients, and they have so many needs, and
Okay.
I'm working like 70 or 80 hours a week.
Wow.
And it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I come home, I just want to relax and be myself. And my husband's asked me to come in today.
Okay.
So
what about your behavior has caused this strain in your relationship? What caused him to tell you to come here today?
Well, he just went crazy the other day. I've been maybe drinking a little more than I used to. I mean, I've always been, I've had a drink every now and then, but
Okay.
he thinks I've been drinking more, and maybe I have, but I mean, it's no reason for him to fly off the handle like he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he started threatening me, not physically or anything, but saying he's gonna divorce me and move and take the kids, and
It's just more added stress, right?
yes, it's I want to go home and be stress-free and not have to think about work and all these other things, and he just keeps bringing up more things.
Mm-hmm. How much would you say that you drink per week?
I mean, I don't count my drinks.
Mm-hmm.
A couple times a week, maybe.
Okay. But you would say that your drinking has definitely put a strain on your relationship then with your husband.
Yes, he doesn't like how much I'm drinking, because we used to be just, on Friday nights kind of people.
Okay.
Maybe go out, or when we were in college, but maybe now it's more than a couple times a week.
Okay. And would you say that your drinking has increased as the stress from your work has increased?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's this time of year,
Right.
everything is crazy, and I want to be able to relax when I come home, and it helps.
Okay. This is confidential. Everything that we say here won't leave this office. Have you used any other substances besides alcohol?
A couple girls at work introduced me to cocaine. I tried it a couple times, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like you're using your use of alcohol and cocaine to really cope with the stress that you're dealing with at your work. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it helps, and I like the way it makes me feel.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree though that maybe the use of these substances is more of trying to escape that stress instead of really dealing with it?
Yeah, I'd say that's it.
Mm-hmm. So, because you said you don't want to have to think about it after you get home, right?
Right, after spending that long at the office, I don't want to
Yeah.
have to think about it.
Do you ever talk to your husband about the stress that's going on at work?
I do. When I do, he just says like, "Oh, it's gonna be okay. It'll get better. It's only for a couple of months," and then he goes on and talks about all the other things that I have to do and things for the house and things we need to take care of, and
Right.
it's just too much, and I don't want that when I come home.
Yeah. You know, I definitely think that, drinking and using substances is not the best way to deal with stress. I mean, obviously it's really causing some detriment in your life. And there's many other ways you can deal with this stress in a very healthy way. Like hobbies. Do you have any hobbies that you like to do?
When I was younger, I used to play piano.
Okay. And do you feel like you get more relaxed when you play piano?
Yeah, that's why I started in the first place playing.
Okay.
So.
I think, I don't know if that would be something you were interested in, like getting more into. Would you feel like you could take the time into doing that if that means that you would feel better afterwards?
I do kind of miss it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a great part of my life. So.
I think there's a lot of other ways, like venting is a very good way to get out stress. And, if sometimes your husband maybe doesn't understand or maybe he doesn't have, the answers that you're really looking for, I think I would definitely recommend seeing a counselor, just someone who's there to listen and maybe even give advice for some better ways to cope with your stress or at least get through this time that you say, is just really hectic in your life. Would you, possibly be interested in maybe doing counseling?
If it makes my husband happy, I'd be willing to try it. Yeah.
That's good. It's good. It shows that you really care about your relationships and you're willing to put in the work for it. I really think that's a good step toward working towards getting you off of some of these more negative coping skills. When we talk about alcohol and substances, it's best to really, you have to go cold turkey because, it seems like that stress is a trigger for you to drink more. And, obviously your use of these substances has become, a strain on your relationships. And obviously you care really a lot about your family and your husband. So what we really recommend is that you completely cut them out. If you drink a little bit, sometimes that can lead to you kind of more and more and more, and it can lead you to where you are now. So do you think that you could really try to just completely stop using any of these substances? It's not going to be easy, but that's why you're going to have support in your family and your husband. Really lean on them at this time.
I think that sounds good. Probably what I need to be doing.
Okay, good. So we will set those up later, and I really hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.